Special thanks to MotionRay for sponsoring today's video. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 audio effects I like to use inside Premiere Pro. Now for this project, I'm going to be using a script for a chiropractic clinic, and I'm going to be generating AI voiceover using MotionRay's new feature. Let's dive in and check this out. So as you can see here, I have the script, and what I'm going to do is just copy it so we have something to work with. So if I go over to MotionRay, there's the new Voiceover tab. So we can copy and paste our voice right into this dialog box right here, and then you have a lot of different voices to choose from. Now for this is for a chiropractic clinic, so I'm going to change my video category to health and wellness, and then also gender to female. You can click the play button to preview, so let's take a listen to this one.
Just start with a smile. It sounds simple, but that small act can change your entire day.
So I like the way this one sounds, so I'm going to click select. You'll notice that it updates in the top left. Then at the top right, you have some different options. So I'm going to change the emotion to optimistic. And you also have speed, but I'm going to leave speed at 1. Once you're ready, you can click generate, and this will generate a voiceover for you. And while this generates, let me talk a little bit more about MotionRay. So if you're not familiar, MotionRay is a marketplace with tons of video assets like video templates, stock footage, photos, music, and sound effects. And as we saw, they came out with a new voiceover feature, which is really cool. And we'll see the results really shortly here. They even have a bunch of plugins you can use as well inside Premiere Pro. If you do want to try out MotionRay, you can create a free account today and download free assets from the website. I will leave a link down in the video description if you do want to check them out. If you do want to sign up today, you can save up to $50 off an annual plan. So go check them out. It's free to use for the free assets, and I use them all the time for my video projects. All right, let's take a look at how the voiceover sounds. So if we go back into our project here, we can click play to see how it sounds.
Welcome to Family Chiropractic. Whether you're new to our clinic or new to chiropractic care, here's what you can expect on your first visit.
So if you're happy with the voiceover, you can click the download button at the far top right. So I'm going to click download, and then inside Premiere Pro, I'm going to import it. So I'm going to click on import media, and then just navigate and import our voiceover. So the first effect that I recommend adding to any voice inside Premiere Pro is the Parametric Equalizer. So if we make a new sequence here with this clip, there's 2 ways that you can add effects to your audio clips. You can add it to the clip itself, or you can add it to the track. So for example here, if we go to the effects panel inside Premiere Pro, we can navigate and type in Parametric Equalizer. You can then click and drag this effect to the clip, and you can see inside effects controls that that effect is added. If we click on edit, you can change the parameters. So if we click and play this back,
Welcome to Family Chiropractic.
you can see that the waveforms auto-populate for the different frequencies. On the right side are the highs, and on the left side is the lows. What I recommend doing is using the preset already created for you inside Premiere Pro called Vocal Enhancer. This enhances vocals specifically, so it brings up the highs so it's more clear, and it also cuts out the low rumbles while also boosting the low ends of the voice. So if we click play, I'm going to toggle on and off by clicking on this button up here, just to show you the before and after of this effect.
Whether you're new to our clinic or new to chiropractic care, here's what you can expect on your first visit. Our friendly staff will personally welcome you upon arrival. Then you'll complete a...
It just sounds really clear, and I like using this for any voice inside Premiere Pro. Now I mentioned earlier that you can use the audio track mixer, and the reason I like using this is because say if you make a bunch of cuts and you want to make adjustments to that effect, you can add and make adjustments to the whole track rather than the clip. So let's say if I cut out some of these pauses here. Let's say if I go into the text-based editing workflow, I'm going to transcribe my text, and I'm going to filter out the pauses. And it's not detecting any now, but I can adjust that by going into the search settings, go into transcription view, and minimum pause length, I'm going to change down to 0.33 seconds. If I click save, you notice that there's a few pauses detected. So if I click on the delete button, I'm going to click delete all, and that essentially cuts out all the pauses. But let's say if I want to edit the Parametric Equalizer effect, you'll notice if we go back into our editing workspace and we go into effects controls, and if I click on edit again, you'll notice that I'm only affecting this one clip. If we go back to the other vocal enhancer and click edit, this one remains the same. So if you want to adjust the Parametric Equalizer for all the clips on the one track, I recommend adding the effect to the track mixer. So for that, you can navigate to the audio track mixer. If you don't see this, you can go up to Window Audio Track Mixer and then select your sequence. In this case, it's this one right here. And then you can click the drop down at the top left and then click on the drop down next to these little bubbles here, and then go to Filter and EQ and then add Parametric Equalizer. Same thing, you can double click on this to open up the effect, and you can do the same effect and enhancements to this effect here. Now, another effect that you can add that I really like adding to vocals is a compressor. And inside Premiere Pro, I like to use the dynamics effect. So working on the same sequence, let's add the dynamics effect to the audio track mixer for audio track 1. So to do that, I'm going to click on the drop down here, go to amplitude and compression, and then choose dynamics. If we double click on this effect here, we have presets we can choose from, depending on how much compression that you want. But I recommend dialing it in yourself because each voice is going to sound a little bit different. So what I recommend doing is checking the box next to compressor. And then I'm going to change the ratio up to 2. This is essentially how much you're compressing it. And then the makeup you're going to have to adjust. So essentially what compression is, essentially it's compressing the highs and the lows in your audio and it's making them closer together so it sounds more even. So essentially that's what the ratio does. It makes it more even to each other. And then you'll have to add some makeup as well. Typically 6 to 12 decibels is what I like to do. And to the right, you can add a limiter as well. So I usually check this on, that way the audio doesn't clip. But let's play this back. And once again, I'm gonna turn it on and off to show you the difference here by clicking on this button.
Our staff will review your insurance coverage and confirm your benefits. At this stage, the chiropractor will do a full assessment and take x-rays.
So as you can see, it just makes everything a little bit more smooth, cohesive, and a little bit louder as well. Now the next effect that I wanted to cover is reverb. And with reverb, I really like to use it when it comes to background music, to make the background music separated from the vocals. So for this, I'm gonna go back to Motion Ray and find a nice background track that we can use inside this project. So if we go back to Motion Ray here, I'm gonna go to the Music tab, and I'm gonna choose Corporate from the left, Genre Filter Settings, and then I'm gonna scroll down and go to Mood, and I'm gonna choose Peaceful. You can click play to preview one of the options here. I like the way this sounds, it's very calming, so I'm gonna click the download button right here. Once it downloads, it'll download as a zip file with a few different versions. I'm gonna import the main one, so I'm just gonna click and drag this into my project folder here, and then I'm gonna click and drag this to audio track 2. Now if we click play, you'll notice how abrupt the background music is.
Appointment to go over the findings and
it doesn't really mix well together. So the thing I like to do is add reverb, but first I also like adding a parametric equalizer effect. So for example, I'm gonna go to the beginning of the timeline here. I'm gonna add a parametric equalizer effect to this audio track. So if we go down to filter EQ and go to parametric equalizer, if we double click on this, one thing you can do is bring down the frequency of the music inside the middle, but keep the highs and the lows. So if we click play here,
chiropractic. Whether you're new to our clinic or new to chiropractic care, here's what you can expect on your first visit. Our friendly...
And then we can adjust the Q or the width, so how wide this point is essentially. So if we click and drag this to the left here and click play,
staff will personally welcome you upon arrival. Then you
can see we cut out a lot of the main frequencies that the voice is associated with. So it makes the voice pop over the background music. And like I said, we can add reverb to this as well. So I like adding studio reverb. So if we click on the drop down, go down to reverb and go to studio reverb. And if we double click on it, you can choose from one of the presets. For background music, I like to use Great Hall. This adds just a nice, really large reverb effect to it. And if we click play, this is kind of what it sounds like.
You'll complete a brief but important application for care. Our team will share information about subluxation.
So those are 3 audio effects I like to use inside my project. If you want to learn more about Premiere Pro, there's several tutorials on my channel. I will link one that you might like right up there. Feel free to go check that out. But that does it for this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.